And can places like this one survive going into the future? Hola Spain lovers, Stuart here with another video today. I've come to a small town which is about an hour away from the bustling city of Madrid, and believe it or not, there are places in this part of Spain that seem frozen in time, and I reckon this is one of those. A small town here, around 1,000 people. The name is Orusco de Tajuña. If you've never heard of that town, don't worry, because I had never heard of the town either before coming here. So we're going to see what this town has to offer. Now there's a sign just over here that tells us some of the main things to see in the town, so let's check that out. So in this town we've got a church, Iglesia de San Juan Evangelista, we've got a hermitage, some type of refuge, we've got an old washing area, some other religious site, Paraje del Cristo, and various walking or cycling routes which I imagine at the weekend are very, very popular. So as you can see, not a lot going on, so let's go and check out the town. Now this apparently is where the town begins. I'll turn the camera around in just a moment so you can check it out. But I think we're going to be in luck today because the local festival seems to be on at the moment, or it has been on recently, because we can see there they've got those barriers up where the bulls would have been running down this main street. We're not going to see any bulls today, but we'll check out what the town is like and see if there's any festival atmosphere. Let's go. All right, so we've got the center to the town there to the left. We've got the town hall building as well, and the most important place in this town, the Plaza de Toros, or the bullfighting ring, there to the right. Don't know if we're going to check that out today, depends how far away it is, but definitely we're going to take a look at the center of this town, so let's go. Now whenever I come to these places here in the Madrid community, I'm always amazed at just how quiet they are, considering that they are only around an hour, as I said, from the capital city, Madrid. So we're not that far away, but these are places that seem stuck in time, as I mentioned before. You can check out the architecture that we've got going on. I said before that the local town festivals, I think, are happening at the moment, and that also tells us that maybe they are. And again, these barricades here to keep the people safe from the bulls, which would come streaming down this street here and headed to the bull ring, I imagine. The typical architecture that we've got going on, and also people with those curtains in the doorways. And not a soul to be found, and it's around 12 midday, so very, very quiet. There's hardly any traffic, there's no rush at all, and people lead a very calm life in these towns, I would say. Now this is a town in a place called the Tajuña Valley. You can get an idea of the views that we've got going on here. There's a river close by with that same name, Tajuña River. And I imagine that a lot of people here are either working in agriculture or they get in their cars every day and head to the capital city. I reckon that's what people would be working in. But the views are spectacular. Now we're in luck. I have found some local residents. They're here having a chat, 4 or 5 people having a chat. You'll see them when I walk by here, and basically their days would go by fairly slowly, I reckon, in towns like this, because there's not a lot going on. Everyone, of course, would know each other, and that would either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Again, looking at the architecture here, pretty basic, I will say. And of course the local festivities here normally based on religion, and I imagine that is the patron saint there. Now surprisingly, I haven't come across a bar yet, but I've come across the first shop, this one that I have here to my right, and I've just spotted the bar down there, and there's a bit of activity going on. A local business here selling different things from the area, Comarca Las Vegas, which is the area here as it is known, and you can see they're selling bread and different types of things, regional specialties. And down there where you see those umbrellas and outdoor seating is the local bar. Let's go for a walk down there. And I imagine this will also take us down to the main square, so I'm looking forward to that. Don't know about you guys. Here's the local bar, Maison Castilla, and a couple of punters there behind me enjoying their midday drink. Now we're coming down into the main hub of this small town, I would say. There's a supermarket down there, there's a guy on an electric scooter, there's also some type of van that I think I just saw parked outside another shop, and here we have people in full celebration mode. Spanish flags on the balconies, 1, 2, 3. People in towns like this, obviously quite patriotic. And this is the main square, starting with the town hall building, turning the camera around, bar over there in the corner, behind the fountain, and the local supermarket. And here again, not a lot going on. This is a classic example of empty Spain, but again surprising given how close it is to the biggest city in this country, Madrid. And I'll turn the camera around and you'll see that there's nothing going on here today. Extremely quiet are the streets. Listen to this. When you come to towns like this, you're not going to see a lot of abandoned houses, or at least they don't seem to be abandoned. People do seem to be living in the majority of the houses here. But of course, it's an elderly population, and basically all you see here are people over 65 years of age. No kids, they're probably at school, but in general, all you see here are people over the age of 65. A lot of the smaller towns in the Madrid community in recent times have been filling up thanks to immigration. People obviously coming to Spain, can't afford to live in the capital city, too expensive to live there, come to places like this looking for a cheaper lifestyle. Don't know if they stick around because maybe the challenges become too much, but that has generally been the trend in many places in the Madrid community, for example. Now I'm going to try and find the church. I don't think it'll be too hard to find considering how small this place is, and I reckon that the church here would be an important hub, especially among the elderly population. Here's the cultural centre, which I imagine is also an important hub here, and we can see just behind it there, not sure if you can see that there, let me see if I can get my finger correct, that seems to be the church. So let's go and check that out. The local notice board here, this is where people would come to advertise, and as we can see here, something to do with bulls. So bullfighting in this part of Spain still important. In fact, Madrid in general, I would say, still has a lot of people that support bullfighting. And when you come to places like this, bulls and bullfighting are the centerpiece of the local festivities. Now let's take another look at the views from up here, some type of vantage point. I'm going to turn the camera around, and this is the Madrid countryside at its best. Whenever I come and record in one of these small towns, I often get comments from people saying that where are the trees? There's not a lot of trees in the towns in many parts of Spain, and this town here is no exception. You can see behind me here that there are not many trees at all. Maybe on the outskirts of the town you can see some, and here we have one in somebody's back garden, but apart from that, not a lot of tree life going on. And why don't they plant trees in these small towns? If anybody has an idea, let me know in the comment section below. You can play table tennis, but it's very hard to find some shade. And the trees that have been planted, 1, 2, 3, 4, are not going to give very much shade. But I suppose if it gets too hot or it starts raining, you could take shelter in the phone booth. But I don't think you're going to be making a call here anytime soon. All right, here is the most important building in this town, the local church. Not sure what the name is. I think it's on that sign over there, Iglesia San Juan Evangelista. Not the most impressive church that I have seen, but as far as architecture goes here in this town, it stands out. Bang smack in front of the church, we have a real estate office. Let's go and see what's on offer here. These signs seem to have been here for a while, but we've got houses for sale, 600 square meter piece of land, 2 floors, living area, kitchen, garage, 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 terraces. Can't see the price. And here we've got places for rent, but I can't see the price. I think it's $330 for an apartment in this town. But that sign's been there for so long, you can no longer read the price. So living in a small town like this in rural Spain, as with any town, I imagine has its pros and its cons. Some of the pros would be obviously the peace and quiet. Not a lot going on here, so if that's what you're looking for, peace and quiet, this type of place would be for you. Cost of living, especially when it comes to housing, would be a lot lower than in other cities in the area. For example, the capital city, Madrid, or even where I live, which is only around 25 minutes away from here. Another pro would be the beautiful countryside, nature nature is on your doorstep in a place like this. A 5-minute walk from here and you're in the middle of nature. And there would definitely be potential in a place like this for rural tourism, eco-tourism and the like. Set up a small B&B in a place like this and you would have it full all the time because of the proximity to the capital city. Cons, obviously fewer services, limited shops, small school. Don't even know if there's any healthcare services here, so people might have to travel, but don't quote me on that. Public transport, almost non-existent, or at least I haven't seen any forms of public transport. So if you had a small family or you didn't have a car, that could be an issue. And let's be honest, those are some of the challenges that make it difficult for places like this to grow in population. And can places like this one survive going into the future, or will they become nothing more than a holiday destination for people from the capital city Madrid at weekends? That's the question. If you're visiting a city like Madrid, I reckon it would be interesting to come to a place like this and contrast what a big city like is here in Spain and what a small town or village is like. It would be an interesting contrast, I reckon. Now this behind me is one of the most important places in town, I imagine, especially during festival week or however long the festivals go on for here, the bull ring. And this is where the bulls that run down the streets through the barricades during the festival season come to die. And sadly, it's as simple as that. But a lot of people in this town, I reckon, would spend their afternoons here at the bull ring. But anyway, time to wrap this video up from the outskirts of this small town, Orusco de Tajuña. If you're traveling to a place like Spain, would you be interested in coming to a small town like this and checking out the traditional way of life? Let me know in that comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss a video when I publish it. Until the next one, hasta luego from the outskirts of Madrid, Orusco de Tajuña. Bye-bye.